Good morning, everybody. Welcome to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment Q&A session following the premiere of my latest video, the video about how to get one of these things connected to one of these things. If you missed that, it just premiered. You'll have to go back and watch it later, or you can go back and watch it now, but then you can't participate here. So, you know, two windows side by side, that could work too. But yeah, let's talk about it. Let's see if you have any questions. And I was really wondering if anybody spotted the glitch that, you know, you upload a video to YouTube, you spend all this time making it, you upload it, and you're like, it's great, you've watched it 100 times, then you watch it again the next day and you go, I missed that, and it's too late. You can't replace it because YouTube, in their infinite wisdom, doesn't allow you to replace a video. Even one that is scheduled to go live and hasn't yet been seen by the public, you can't replace it. I mean, I'd have to pull it down, put up a whole new one, the links would go dead, and it's like, that sucks. So I made the decision to just leave it there. There are actually two problems. One of them was really subtle, but I think Sharbax already picked this up. So let's see here. Sharbax, I asked if you guys picked up the problem. You said wrong frame rate export. So Sharbax, that is really interesting you say that. I actually did not realize that I had a frame mismatch until 10 minutes before the show. I was doing something else and I went, oh my God, that's right. So normally, this show, what you're watching right now, is 24p. It's 1080, 24, and I've talked about this before. It has to do with my switching system and why I'm at 24 and not 2997. Anyway, that's what the show is. When I shot everything at the show on the show floor, I was shooting on the iPhone, and I shot it at either 4K 60 or 4K 30 or whatever. It was either 30 or 60, but it was not 24. And that's what I started editing in. And then I started shooting other things to insert. And so the stuff that I shot at SFO was shot on a GX85. That was 2997, so that all matched up. And then I shot something in here on the S1, and I'm quite sure that was at 2398 because in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I'm doing my studio work. It has to be 24, and that's, you know, as close as I can get on the S1. And then I shot stuff on this system at 24 and dropped all those onto a 2997 timeline. I didn't realize that I had the frame mismatch until just like literally moments ago. What are you gonna do? So that was that. But let's see if anybody spotted the actual error in the show itself. Shark, greetings. You missed me all week. You know, I'm sorry, and thank you for saying that. Tell me what you guys think. I think I'm making another change. I know it's like every other week I'm making a change, but here's what has kind of occurred to me. I try to put out two shows a week, and I made a decision a while ago that I was going to go to 2 from 3, so I'd have more time to produce stuff. And my goal, and I don't think I've ever actually hit this, but my goal was to do one of those shows live and one of those as a premiere, like I just did, followed by a live Q&A. That was kind of the objective. And at some point, I realized the fact that I'm trying to stick to this schedule is really hindering what I'm doing. This video should have been out last week, and then it should have been out Monday. It's like, well, now if I don't release it Monday, I can't release it until Thursday. And I realized this is just silly. How about I just release it when it's done? And I take the pressure off of myself to get something rushed out. I release it when it's finished, or at least I'm, you know, happy enough to release it. And this way, not only am I not trying to stick to some arbitrary schedule that I have defined, it's not like I got some boss over me saying I have to do this, but also so many shows I haven't done because I look at the schedule and I go, ooh, I want to do that, but that's going to take a lot of time. I don't have time because the next show's in 48 hours. And so I have a long list of shows that I have not done yet because I don't have the prep time. There just isn't prep time between shows. So I think I'm going to start focusing more on just do whatever I want to do, whether I do it live or edited, like this one. That'll just depend on the content, whatever is more conducive to it. I love doing the live shows. That's not going away. I think the schedule is just going to become a bit erratic. What do you guys think? I know it's not conducive to you know, to people who want to catch me every Monday at 1:30 or whatever, but I really want your feedback. I want to know what you think. Let's see what else is going on here. Sharbax, I have lots of mics. I do, Sharbax. I do have lots of mics. Sharks is very pro videos. Thank you very much. Sharbax, no need to stick to a schedule. YouTube doesn't have any rules for when you release videos and how long they are. Randall agrees. Thank you, Randall. So, yeah, that is true. There is conventional wisdom that when growing an audience, which I'm clearly still doing, you want to stick to a schedule because the audience likes having things on a regular schedule. I assume that is based in some kind of research, and there's some degree of accuracy to that. But then you look at the bigger YouTubers, and clearly I'm nowhere near these guys, but you look at like the Peter McKinnons, the MKBHD, Casey, and so on. They release whenever the heck they want. And sometimes in the middle of the night. They release it when it's ready, not by some defined schedule. Sometimes there's a couple of videos in 1 week. Sometimes there's not a video for a couple of weeks because they're working on something bigger. And I think that what it really comes down to for me is focusing on the content instead of the schedule. I want to deliver better content as opposed to more content on a regular schedule. So I'm glad you guys are agreeing with this so far. Hopefully we'll see how this goes. Sharks just speed watch the mic video. Bad audio can destroy a good video. Oh yes, it most certainly can. Sharbuck says, I think the audience just likes to get some quality stuff. There you go, but I don't think they're sitting and waiting for videos on specific schedules. Yeah, I think so too. It's different when it's live because you want to tune in for the live event because you got to be there live if you want to participate live. And so I know that some people who are here regularly on Thursday morning or Monday afternoon may not be able to be here if I decide to do a show, later in the day on Tuesday or early in the morning on Wednesday. It just may not fit, but I just, we got to get it out when it comes out. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Sharks' content is key to the shows. Agreed, agreed. Hey, whoever's watching off of YouTube, say hi. I know there are a few people. We got a couple on Facebook, Twitch. We're out there today. Nobody in VK or DLive. I set up DLive. I have no idea what's going on over there, but that's fine. Most people on YouTube, say hi. Say hello. It's always lovely to see chats coming in from other platforms as well. So does anybody have any questions about this? And did anybody spot the continuity error? I don't think you did. Let me show you what happened. I'm going to pull it up over here and show it to you because it's just embarrassing, and that's just the way it is. How do I get to my actual show now? That's interesting. Reload that page and see if it comes up. Rigo says hi. Hello, Rigo. You're on YouTube as well. All right, let's see. If you watch, here we go. I'm going to, how can I do this so that you can see this cleanly? I'll just go full screen on here. That's fine. Okay, so you're watching the actual, this is the actual YouTube feed that just played. So, okay, this shot. Look at this nice, clean black wall and the red door. It's just, whatever. It's kind of a nice setup. Whatever, it's fine. No big deal, but it's just a thing. And then somewhere in here, let me find it. There it is. Somewhere in here, we're watching along. I'm gonna leave it muted. We're watching along. Blah, 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 blah. And then suddenly, on the right-hand side, suddenly, in a moment, and any moment now, honestly, any moment now. Okay, come on. There it is. Look at that. The outlet. So when I shot it, I was going to mask it. I was going to put something over it, and I completely forgot. And then I'm looking at the footage going, oh, good job, genius. I totally forgot. So it's easy enough. It's a black wall. It's dark enough. I was able to just duplicate the layer, mask it, slide it over, cover it up. There are a few frames where I move my hand over it, and so those are frame by frame masked out to mask out around my fingers. It's only a few frames. It's no big deal. It took like half an hour to do it all up. Fine, it's fine. Somehow, for 2 of these shots, I have no idea how this happened or when, but 2 of these shots, the mask layers got shifted over, and so they're not covering the stupid outlet. I'm like, come on, man. You work so hard to get something right, and then it's gone. I just don't get it. Sharbuck says that's a huge mistake. Oh, good. Thanks for making me feel better about myself. No, it is what it is. Foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, Emerson. Interesting. Foolish consistency. Oh, okay, you're going back to yeah, okay, I like that. Foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. Well, I guess that makes my past mind little end of a hobgoblin, and I will try to make it bigger and whatever the opposite of a hobgoblin is. Maybe like a mini goblin? Hobgoblin? I don't know. What's the opposite? Anyway, thanks. I'll work on that. Shark says, how many wireless mics do you own? I only have one, Sennheiser AVXM Mark E2, and it's great for its portability / form factor. I have, so the main one that I use every day is the Sennheiser, the EW100. Love this mic, it's great. It is by far the best mic pack that I have. In previous mic tests that I've done, this gets the best range, gets the fewest dropouts, et cetera, et cetera. I would very much like to get the new AVX system. That's what you're talking. Yeah, that's right. The AVX, the digital one. That is awesome. One problem, though, and I cannot replace that for my live show, is because it's digital, there is a delay. It's very slight, but there is a delay. I will hear, because I've used it on here, somebody else had when I used it, I hear myself not much late. It's like a frame or maybe half a frame late or something, but I do hear a bit of an echo in my ear. It's not as bad as me talking, kind of a show where I'm literally hearing an echo half a second later. It's a very small delay, but it is there. So I'm going to stick to analog here for as long as I can. Back to your question, though, the other mics, these are all mics that have been sent out to me to review. This Comica pack, and these are all linked down below as well. This is a really cheap, sub $200 Comica pack. It's for under 200 bucks, totally respectable. Definitely doesn't have the range or the interference blocking, I guess. but it is a totally respectable mic pack for the price. And then this new one, which I haven't done a video on yet, you saw it here for the first time in the video I just did. It's another Comica. This is a dual. So it's a dual receiver, which is a better build quality than this. This is all metal. These are plastic. It costs quite a bit more. It's, I think, $400 and something, I believe. Again, linked below. And so far, in the minimal use that I've used with it, it seems great. But I'm going to have to do a proper, full-on test with it. I just haven't gotten to that yet. So that's one of those, I need more time. But I will. I will absolutely do that. That's the extent of what I have. I don't ever use these. I break it out for stuff like this. This one, however, assuming that the quality is really there once I really get into it, will likely be the one that lives in my kit bag for being on the road, because I love the fact that it's a dual mic receiver. That is fantastic. That is super cool. Sharbex, Sennheiser did a new small microphone just for iPhone, didn't they? Oh, I don't know. With some really cool Bluetooth post-sync features, so connections doesn't have to be perfect. It syncs automatically after. Oh, that sounds cool. So it records on the transmitter side, I would assume was what that is. That would be neat. Recording, that's always the way to get rid of, bypass the whole problem of connecting wirelessly. Is just record and sync and post. It'll save you money. It'll save you the connection, wireless connection hassles, interference, all of that. You can get infinite range. It's just, it's pretty easy. It's actually a really good way to do it. So in the video that just played, the scene where I'm just talking to the camera, kind of saying, oh, sorry, but I picked up this box, so I'm going to insert this video later. That was shot at SFO on my way home. And that I shot with the GX85, which does not have a microphone input. So I recorded audio on the GX85, just onboard mic for sync purposes. And then I used my little Tascam. Here it is. My little Tascam recorder. These things are awesome. They're, I think, I want to say $190. I might be wrong, but it looks like a wireless pack, except this is not a transmitter. It is simply a recorder. They're very small. It's considerably smaller than these packs. And you just put this on, hit record on here, and these will record for something like 12 hours straight, obviously given you have a big enough memory card in there. These are really popular with wedding shooters. You stick one of these on the bride, the groom, the maid of honor, blah, 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 and then you can easily record all of their audio throughout the day and do your posting, syncing and post later. It's great. They're really cool. All right, let's see here. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything earlier. Sharbeck says, people watching all over the world. I'm watching from Copenhagen, for example. I'm not sure specific time of day to publish is better. You can publish anytime. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely better times. I know my audience is mostly North America and Europe, much more so than Asia. So I try to be in those time zones. But then again, that's also my time zone. So I don't really want to be up in the middle of the night doing this. Bryce says, I guess the little things do matter. They do. The little things really do matter. Sharbex, we just talked about that. Sharbex, I wish that worked with Panasonic. What are you referring to, my friend? Tell me what you mean. You're such a perfectionist. I know. Sharbex, I wonder how that dual Comica compares to my dual Saramonic. So I don't know. At NAB, I had a great meeting with Saramonic. We're going to work out a comparison video. You guys know I don't often do brand comparison stuff. Like, I certainly don't do Panasonic versus Sony and stuff like that. Sometimes I do mic stuff. I've done comparisons before, but I'm going to do an interesting video with Saramonic where I'm going to take 3 of their mics, kind of a cheap, middle cost, and high-end cost, and do a comparison of there to show the advantages, why you would want to step up, what the value is of going to the higher-end mic, and obviously advantages of the lower-end mic other than cost. And so that, I think, will be a really interesting video. We had a great meeting with them at NAB, and I think that's going to be a fun one to do. I'm looking forward to that. Shark, have I seen the new Rode Wireless Go? I have seen it, have not used it, but I've seen it. Of course, there's like a million videos on YouTube about it. It looks very cool. It definitely does. It's a nice little pack. I like how, so when I'm first watching the videos and they've got it clipped on here, I'm like, really? Like, I would never shoot something with this big pack hanging on here, especially since it says Rode on it. Like, I'm not here to advertise for Rode. But then they finally said, I saw it kind of later in their marketing videos, that you can plug a mic into it. Okay, now that's better. Obviously, I haven't used it yet, and I never did use Rode's other wireless pack. But in my experience, using digital wireless packs is problematic. This is why I'm analog. And I know the Sennheiser wireless pack is great, so clearly it's possible, but the Sennheiser pack also costs like $1,000, $800 or something for the set. cheap, it's not Bluetooth, but cheap digital wireless, I have found is very susceptible to dropouts, very susceptible to non-line of sight. So even putting something like under, say this was a digital pack and I put it here under my shirt, even that could be problematic, but putting it on your back where you really want it could almost guarantee dropouts. I've done a bunch of stuff in the past with them and had horrible results, kind of swore off of digital for a while. Again, the Sennheiser AVX was the first one I've ever used that was basically flawless, other than the slight delay. But that one works. But I don't know how good the Rode is. Nobody's talked about dropouts really in the reviews I've seen, so I'm assuming that it's actually pretty good. But no, I have not played with it yet. But I've certainly seen it. It does look very interesting. Bryce McNabb says, when using the USB adapter setup, okay, does it work with phantom power mics? No, it is not going to deliver power to the mic. What it will do, okay, hold on a second, let me think this through. Someone else just asked a similar question. It's not a phantom power mic, but they asked if they could use a USB powered mic. And I have an old Yeti, the Blue Microphone Yeti tabletop mic, which is USB, doesn't require an external power source, but draws power from USB. I connected that to the setup, so we're talking about this little setup here with the iPhone, and so without this, sorry. So the camera kit, plugged the Blue Yeti into this, and I got an error on the phone that said insufficient power or something like that. Because this camera kit has the lightning port in, I plugged power into this, and then it gave it enough power. So you can use a USB mic that requires power with this setup if you also power this. Now, obviously, I'm sure it's going to depend on the mic. Some mics are going to require more power than others, so this is not a universal statement, but in my very limited testing, it did work once I added power into here. But as far as an actual requires, I don't have one right here, but an actual mic that requires a phantom power, no, this is not going to deliver. That's a lot of power. Phantom power it's not going to get like like the Heil, right? This is passive. This one does not need. This one need phantom. I don't remember now. The Rode, my NTG2, the boom mic, that actually has a battery in it, so it can operate off that, or you can switch over to Phantom. I mean, it's XLR anyway, so you'd have to go through a whole other set of converters, but no, is the very long answer to a very short question. Let's see here. Where were we? Worse, just review on the Rode Wireless Go. Is it worth the money and quality? Again, I haven't reviewed it. Tons of people have. It's kind of all over YouTube. I don't see any value in me reviewing it because so many other people have already. So I would watch one of the other 8 million videos that are out there on it right now. Sharbex, I wonder if I can use a good Sennheiser lav mic together with a Saramonic dual transmitter to one receiver. Oh, the microphone itself, you mean, not the pack. The Saramonic is most likely a standard 3.5 millimeter locking port, so yeah, you should be able to. I have a variety of different mics, lapel or lav mics that I use for different things, and they all have that locking 3.5 millimeter collar on them. That's kind of the key, getting that locking one. If it doesn't have the lock on it, it may not go in far enough. I have found mics that wouldn't plug in that don't have the locking collar. But for those that do, it's always worked for me. Pardon me. Sharbeck says, Gerald Dunn did a video on that data you featured. It sounded like they used some crazy anti-dropout 2.4 gigahertz algorithm. So I'll say this about him. Well, Gerald's video, I did watch that. He did an early video that he wasn't supposed to do, that he then pulled because it was pre-release hardware. But then once he got the full release, he kind of incorporated some of that back into it. And he was very, very bullish on how good D80 was at upgrading it via software and so on, which was awesome. When I was at their booth, you may have noticed of the 3 mics that we listened to, that one sounded the cleanest. And the reason for that is, it's not the mic itself, it's the interference at NAB. I had in an earlier version of the video, I had a whole thing about radio interference at NAB. I ended up pulling it out because it just wasn't really necessary. But in the other 2 mic examples, so the R5X, or X5R, I think it was, and then the Wizicom, both of those recordings, when you look at the whole, say, 45 seconds that I shot, have multiple dropouts. That's not because of the mic not being any good or the packs not being any good. It's because NAB is a radio interference nightmare. There's probably more radio traffic going on at NAB than anywhere else on the planet at that time. It's insane. using the fact that I was able to use my wireless stuff at all kind of surprised me, frankly. At Deity, they had a very special like radio satellite dish kind of thing to beam for beaming great distances, the wireless setup connector. That's kind of what they had shown that was working where I was. Plus, it was big honking. I mean, it was like a massive setup that they had there, and it sounded fantastic. Right? It was super clean, no interference. But that's why, because they were really going overboard on it. But you have to. I mean, it's NAB. It's NAB. Okay. Let's see here. Sure Creative Media was just watching me on DLive. Oh, sent a message, doesn't seem to have come through. Oh, that sucks. Let me see if it sells me anything here. Yeah, I know that some of the systems don't get the messages through. Let's see, well, I guess the only chat window I have here is the same one that I have up there, so I guess not. Yeah, that's a bummer. Well, good to know, though, thanks. I'm in constant touch with the Restream guys, telling them what is and isn't working. This service has been around for a while, but I swear, I feel like it's in beta. Thank you for checking that out, though. I appreciate it. Let's see. Shark just bought a second Panasonic XLR1E adapter. XLR1, I don't know what the E is. Maybe that's a typo. But the XLR1 adapter for your future second camera GH5S. Great. Have one for the GH5. We'll be using it this week. Nice. Have you had any issues with using this setup? No, not at all. I use it all the time. That's if you look at, so in the video that just played, the one that I put up on screen with me against the black and the red wall, that was shot with an NTG2 Rode mic into the XLR1 on the Lumix S1. Incidentally, if you go back and watch that again, if you look in the lower right corner, every single shot explains exactly what the camera, the mic, and the cabling, and the location, like it matters, for each one of those shots, just for curiosity points. So if you're curious, that's in there if you rewatch that video. Lakeshore Studio. I've been using the Sony UWP-D11 for years, but lately I've been using the Sennheiser 416 with the Rode New Shooter wireless system as much as possible. If subject doesn't move, the bass is so good. I'm not familiar with any of those mics, I'm sorry to say, but glad you're happy with them. Awesome. Sharpex, but he said the Deity has a 19 millisecond delay. Oh, I must have missed that. Maybe it's another video. And now I wonder if some of these wireless microphones have different lag time delays in them. So I think with digital, you're going to get a delay. That's just, I think there's all there is to it. It is rarely a problem, right? That delay is slight enough that you probably aren't going to notice it. If you are, let me think about this. If you're doing something live, then you're going to be able to, it's going to sync the audio and video in camera on the way out. I mean, I guess that delay wouldn't be part of that sync. That's an HDMI, that's a different sync problem. Yeah, I guess, I mean, if you're in post, you can always slip it if it feels like it's out of sync. But yeah, with digital, I think it's inevitable. Hopefully this will eventually get better and better. But at the moment, as far as I can tell, that is inevitable, unfortunately. What do you guys use for video walls? Marcus, what do you mean for video walls? I don't know what you mean. DeWall, do you think Deity will take a large market share? Man, if I could predict that stuff, I'd be playing in the stock market. I don't know. They seem to make very good products. They don't have a whole lot of stuff out yet, but from what I've seen, everything seems very, very good. I would actually very much like to get my hands on that Deity set. I think that one that was in the video, the big, robust pack, that looked pretty hot. And the pack itself, even though it was large, because I remember when I first saw it, I said, no, it's really big and really heavy. And he goes, no, it's actually very light. And I picked it up, and it is very light. There's a lot of empty space in there to keep radio pieces apart, so for the interference issue. But that was a pretty cool setup, for sure. And they just released, which I didn't try out, some new, really small microdot microphone. My bet, like I use this Sennheiser Lav all day long. This one, I don't remember the model numbers, but this one is directional. I have the generic one that came, the one that came with it, which is Omni mic. I use this one because it's a much cleaner signal. But you can tell as I turn my head, you can hear a difference quite dramatically, whereas with this mic you wouldn't, but this mic picks up a lot more of the room. And then I have a very, very nice mic that I don't use very often because it's so expensive. I don't want to use it every day and damage it. But this is a DPA mic, and this has got a microdot on it. Let me pull it out of the sleeve, and I'll give you a little close-up. This is a really small little tip on here. I don't know what this is going to focus on. It's on me. Let's change that and zoom into that a little bit. And see if I can get it to focus on that tiny little thing there. There you go. So this little guy here is a great little mic, flesh-colored. This is something that I would wear under my shirt. It's designed to pick up to amplify high frequency, so it's designed to be worn under clothing. And so, actually, in the video where you don't see me wearing a mic, I am using it at the end when I'm at this table, and that's just like taped to my chest, which is always fun. But it's a great way to go. It's so expensive, I don't use it all the time. I kind of save it for stuff. Anyway, Jake, greetings, Jake. Good to see you, buddy. The new Deity mics do have a slight delay because of their frequency hopping and the listen before talk feature. Oh, listen before talk, that's interesting. But from what I understand, it's not enough to notice the lag. Okay. Yeah, the lag, I notice when I'm doing live stuff because I'm the one talking and I hear myself. Like right now, there is zero lag between this because this is all analog, right? This mic is going into a Sennheiser pack, which is the receivers right here, going into my analog mixer, which then remarkably goes, this tells you how fast analog is, right? So it goes from here wirelessly to the pack, from the pack into the X-Air, the Behringer X-Air. From there, it's going up to the switcher, to the video switcher, and then the video switcher is feeding an audio loop back into the X-Air, which is then sending that into a wireless transmitter, an analog wireless transmitter, which is then coming into my ears on a wireless pack. So I'm wearing two wireless packs right now, it's a transmitter and a receiver. That's a lot of movement, and it is pure real time. There is zero delay. I mean, maybe you could measure it on what's the audio equivalent of an oscilloscope? You could probably measure it on that, but I can't hear it. I do not hear any delay. It's kind of amazing. Right, Shark, when you shoot video, what is your go-to mic for recording great interviews? Sennheiser G3, and what mic do you use for the recording film location exteriors, the Rode NT-G2? The mic always just depends on the location. So if I'm gonna go out and shoot an interview with multiple people, since I only have the one, I have rented the AVXs before because they're super nice. I just don't have the money to drop on a pair of those yet, but I really want to. So I've used those. If it's just single person, I will use this mic because I've been really happy with this in the past, this Sennheiser. If it's something where I can boom it, I can't boom it if people are moving around, right? That's always the challenge with that. But I do love the sound you get out of the NT-G2. It's nice and bassy, but you really got to be, that's a fine. I used to use it on this show. When I was in the other room, I used to use it on the show. I really liked using that, but I wanted to be able to move around. Obviously out here, if I was on a boom, as soon as I went out here, you wouldn't be able to hear me. And as you know, I do a lot of stuff running around here, so I got to be wireless here. But yeah, when I'm out shooting, it is either the NT-G2 or the wireless. I'm doing some kind of an interview thing, or just the on-camera shotguns for any kind of running gun is the go-to for that. Using the Shure VP83 is my standard. I had that Rode Video Mic Pro Plus, which I did a video on a while ago. I really enjoyed that mic. There's a lot of features about it I really liked. It was a bit bigger than I wanted it to be, but it sounded great, so it became worth it. But then they wanted it back, so that went back to them. I do not have that anymore. Let's see here. Charbax, do all the live microphones use the same clip-on holders? My Ceramonic broke and I need to order a new clip holder thingy on Amazon. Yeah, they're generic. They're just generic. I mean, I guess you would have to watch out for this part of it. Let's see here. You've got, where's my focus point? Oop, there it was. Okay, so you've got this little ring, this like a squeezy dealy, so it would have to hold into that. You'll notice on this, the DPA mic, there is no clip, although it did come with somewhere a tiny little clip with an itty bitty little thing to hold onto the wire. So what you're looking for is something that's going to hold the wire. These wires are pretty universally sized, I think. I mean, not to any difference that you'd have to buy a custom one, I don't think. But if you wanted to hold the mic itself, like the Sennheiser did, then you have that clip. This one that I'm wearing, okay, the one that I'm wearing, sorry, I'm trying to be gentle there. The one that I'm wearing is clipped onto the wire, so it's a totally universal, generic kind of a thing. I gotta get moving. I gotta eat lunch and then I've gotta shoot. Anything else? Having multiple videos playing in one shot, Marcus is saying. You're talking about the video, was that the video wall question, Marcus? Yeah. You're talking like multiple videos behind your, or you mean, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about in editing, I would just do a layout of multiple images on screen at once. If you're talking about for live, like an actual physical thing behind me and multiple TVs. If you're talking about live, taking different sources, putting them up, then that would be through your switching software or hardware. I'm not quite sure exactly what you mean, sorry. And I'm gonna probably have to go before you can clarify your question. Shark, what is that hardcore wireless mic you're using that is super expensive? Brand model is a DPA. It shows up in the last shot of the video. Or I can just pull it up here. Oh, I think 4060, I think is right. Let me just pull this up here because I do have it. Here we go. If I go full screen on this, wait for that to go away. Yeah, DPA 46. You can see in the bottom right corner. I'm waiting for the play bar to go away, but that tells you the mic and the cabling. So that was a direct line. I didn't have that plugged into a wireless rig. That was plugged just directly XLR into the mixer, but because I was using the wireless rigs up here. But I have, this is kind of cool, on the back of this thing. So there we go. So obviously that's the mic end. I know that's not totally in focus, but anyway, this end here, this little micro dot connection, for that you have multiple connection points. So, and you can buy them for different type of mic packs or whatever. So I have one that is XLR, and then I have one that is the Sennheiser, 3.5 millimeter locking thing. So there's that. All right, last question, then I gotta go. Mark, have you considered using a Bluetooth dongle from the mic pack transmitter to the iPhone Android phone, then just pairing the phone to the Bluetooth dongle? Just a thought on my end. Bluetooth has delay, Bluetooth is unreliable, Bluetooth has limited range, Bluetooth is susceptible to interference, Bluetooth has historically been utterly useless. It is getting better, I get it, and there's probably some reasonable solutions out there, but there are always more consumer-oriented solutions. This whole experience here is about taking a pro mic, a real mic pack, and connecting it up, and that's how that works. Bluetooth is getting better. I'm sure it's, for some uses, it's fine, but in my experience on it, it's not been good enough. Okay, I have got to go. All right, guys. Hey, thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in today. That was super fun. You know how things work out here. If you haven't subscribed, do the subscribe, hit the like, all that good stuff. I don't really care about this video itself because this is the Q&A that will not be seen, but go back to the original video and make sure you like that, share it, tell a friend, make sure everybody sees it. That's the 2019 edition. That's the third time I've done it. The 2017 edition is my most viewed video on YouTube. Go figure. People still watch it more than any other, even though it's 3 years old or 2 years old, whatever, and it's kind of outdated. I don't know. Anyway, but let's get this one up there. So thanks a bunch, everybody. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.